The power of assumption is one of the most profound truths you can ever come to understand in your journey of creation. It is the realization that what you assume to be true about yourself, your world, and your future becomes the very foundation of your reality. Every great achievement, every dream realized, and every success ever manifested in the physical world began with an assumption that the individual had about themselves, their worth, and their ability to create. The law of assumption is not simply a concept. It is the key to unlocking the life you desire. And it all starts with the assumption that what you want is already true. Consider for a moment the power of your own thoughts. Every thought that passes through your mind is a seed being planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. These thoughts are not fleeting or inconsequential. They are the building blocks of your future. The thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, and the assumptions you make about yourself and your life are what shape your experiences. The law of assumption teaches us that our external world is a direct reflection of the assumptions we hold internally. If you want to change your life, you must first change your assumptions. When you embrace the law of assumption, you are stepping into a realm where belief becomes reality. This is not about hoping or wishing for things to change. It is about assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is about imagining that what you desire is already yours and living as though it is already true. The act of assumption is the act of faith. Faith in the unseen. Faith in the unseen future that you are creating in your mind. It is about trusting that the world will unfold according to your assumptions and that the universe will respond in kind. Think about the most successful people you know or have heard about. Whether it's in business, sports, or any other field, these individuals operate from a place of certainty. They do not wait for the world to give them evidence that they are capable. They assume the feeling of their success long before it materializes in the external world. They do not allow their present circumstances to dictate what they believe is possible for them. Instead, they act as if their dreams are already fulfilled and the world responds to them accordingly. The process of assumption works on the principle that you must accept as true the reality you wish to create, even if there is no visible evidence to support it in the present moment. This is not about waiting for the world to change before you change your thinking. The key to the law of assumption is that you must change your thinking first, and then the world will follow suit. You must live as if you already have what you desire. You must walk, talk, and act in alignment with the person you are becoming. This act of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is what shifts your reality. Many people are caught in a cycle of looking for evidence in the physical world before they can believe in their desires. They wait for things to happen before they can believe that they are worthy, that they can succeed, or that their dreams are achievable. However, this approach is backwards. The truth is that you must believe first, and then the evidence will follow. The physical world is not the cause of your success. It is the effect of your beliefs and assumptions. When you assume that success, happiness, and abundance are already yours, your external world begins to reflect those assumptions. Imagine that you are an artist, and your thoughts are the brushstrokes of your masterpiece. Every thought you entertain about your life, your future, and your potential is a stroke on the canvas of your existence. If you continually focus on the assumption that your desires are already realized, your mind begins to work behind the scenes to bring them into form. You begin to make decisions that are in alignment with your assumptions. You take actions that reflect your new beliefs, and opportunities start to present themselves that you may not have noticed before. The law of assumption is not about forcing or striving. It is about surrendering to the idea that what you desire is already on its way to you. When you understand the power of assumption, you begin to see the world differently. You stop waiting for the conditions of the world to change, and instead, you focus on changing your own assumptions. Your external world, no matter how bleak it may seem in the present moment, is only a reflection of the assumptions you have held in the past. The present moment is a reflection of the thoughts and beliefs you've been entertaining. But the future is not set in stone. It is a fluid canvas that is shaped by the assumptions you make right now. If you change your assumptions, you change your future. This is why the power of assumption is so transformative. It allows you to transcend the limitations of your current circumstances and step into the life you truly desire. You are not a victim of your environment or the conditions of the world. You are the creator of your life, and you have the power to shape your future through the assumptions you make today. The moment you make the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled, your reality begins to align with that assumption. The law of assumption works by changing your inner state. When you assume that you are worthy of success, love, and abundance, you begin to vibrate at a higher frequency that matches those qualities. You begin to attract situations, people, and opportunities that align with your new assumptions. This is the process of manifestation. Not by forcing or striving, but by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and allowing the universe to bring your desires to fruition. The key to understanding the power of assumption is recognizing that your inner world creates your outer world. If you want to change your circumstances, you must change your assumptions. If you want to experience more wealth, success, love, or peace, you must first assume that these things are already yours. Live as though your desires are already true, and the world will shift to reflect that truth. Every great success story begins with an assumption. Whether it's building an empire, starting a business, or achieving personal growth, the first step is always the same. You must assume that it is possible. The law of assumption teaches us that our imagination is the gateway to our desires. It is through our imagination that we bring our dreams into the physical world. When we assume that our desires are already true, we give life to them in the unseen realm, and eventually they materialize in the physical world. The law of assumption is not a mystical or magical concept. It is a practical tool for creating the life you desire. It requires you to take responsibility for your own thoughts and beliefs and to recognize the power you hold in shaping your own reality. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not waiting for the world to change. You are creating a new world from within, and that world will soon become your reality. The process of creating your reality is deeply intertwined with the concept of imagination. Imagination is not just a tool for fantasy or daydreaming. It is the very mechanism through which your future is formed. Everything that exists in the world today, from the simplest object to the most complex system, was first imagined in the mind of someone. What you imagine and believe with intensity, clarity, and feeling becomes your reality. The world you experience is a direct reflection of the thoughts and beliefs you entertain in your mind. Therefore, the key to shaping the life you desire is to imagine it into existence. Imagination is not merely about visualizing something you want and leaving it at that. It is an active, dynamic force that, when used with purpose and intention, has the power to bring forth all that you desire. The process begins in your mind, where you must clearly envision what you want to create. However, visualization alone is not enough. It is the feeling associated with the imagination that drives the manifestation process. To truly create your reality, you must feel what it would be like to have already achieved your desire. The emotional connection to your imagination is what brings it to life. When you imagine something with deep, heartfelt emotion, you are creating a vibrational frequency that matches the very thing you wish to bring into existence. The power of imagination lies in its ability to transcend time and space. When you close your eyes and imagine a scenario, you are not limited by the present moment or by physical circumstances. In the realm of your imagination, everything is possible. This is where the true magic of creation happens. You can be, do, and have anything you desire, not by waiting for the external world to change, but by changing your inner world through imagination. You do not need to wait for the right conditions to align or for the right opportunities to come to you. Through the power of imagination, you can align yourself with the reality you want right now, in this very moment. The process begins by consciously deciding what you want. What is it that you truly desire? What is the vision you hold for your life? Once you are clear on this vision, you can begin to imagine it in vivid detail. Do not simply think about it abstractly or casually. Imagine it as though it has already happened. Visualize the experience with all the senses. See it, feel it, hear it, taste it, and smell it. Immerse yourself in the experience of your dream as though it is happening right now. The more real and vivid the imagination, the stronger the impression it makes on your subconscious mind. This is where the power lies. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. So when you fill your imagination with vivid emotional imagery, your subconscious begins to treat it as real. This belief then starts to influence your external reality, drawing circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with your imagined world. One of the most important aspects of creating your reality through imagination is understanding that it is not enough to imagine your desires once or twice. Consistency is key. You must practice imagining your desired reality daily, repeatedly, until the imagined experience feels as natural and real to you as the world you currently see with your eyes. This requires faith and persistence. The more you immerse yourself in the feeling of having already achieved your goal, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. And as your subconscious begins to accept your imagined reality as true, it starts to influence the physical world around you. The idea that imagination creates reality may seem abstract to some, but when you understand how it works, it becomes clear that this process is both natural and profound. The mind is always at work, shaping your reality according to the thoughts and feelings you feed it. Every moment of every day, your mind is creating your future. The problem is that many people do not realize that they are creating their future unconsciously, based on old beliefs and fears. They imagine themselves as stuck, as lacking, as unable to achieve their goals. But the key is to consciously take control of your imagination and use it to create the life you want. You must imagine the version of yourself who has already achieved what you desire. And you must do this consistently, with conviction and with emotion. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that external circumstances must change before you can change your life. You may think that you need to wait for the right moment or for the perfect set of conditions to arise before you can take action. But this is where imagination comes in. You do not need to wait for the perfect circumstances. Through imagination, you can create the perfect circumstances in your mind first. Once you have created that mental picture, you will begin to notice how the external world starts to shift to align with your inner vision. Opportunities that were once unseen will present themselves. People will come into your life who support your vision. The universe will begin to respond to the vibrations you are sending out through your imagination. The power of imagination is that it enables you to transcend your current situation and align with the future you want. When you imagine your desires as already realized, you are sending a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive them. This is the process of manifestation. Not by forcing or striving, but by aligning your inner state with the external world you wish to create. When you are in alignment with your desires, the external world has no choice but to reflect that alignment. The world around you begins to change in subtle ways, and you begin to attract the people, opportunities, and circumstances that match the vibration of your imagination. This process is not always instant, and there may be times when the physical world seems to contradict your imagined reality. However, this is where the power of persistence and belief comes in. The more you consistently imagine your desired reality and align with the feelings associated with it, the more the external world will begin to shift. The key is to not be discouraged by temporary setbacks or by the lack of immediate results. Trust that the process is working and stay focused on your vision. Your imagination is creating the foundation for your future, and every moment you spend imagining your desires brings you one step closer to realizing them in the physical world. The beauty of imagination is that it is limitless. You are not bound by your current circumstances or by what the world says is possible. You are only bound by the limits you place on your own imagination. If you can imagine it, you can create it. The power lies within you to shape your reality, not through force or struggle, but through the simple yet profound act of imagination. By using this power, you can create a life that is rich with fulfillment, success, and joy. All it takes is the willingness to trust in the power of your own mind and to imagine the life you desire into being. The process of creating your reality is not one of waiting for something to happen. It is one of creating it first in your mind and then allowing it to unfold in your life. To understand the process of creating your reality, it is essential to recognize that your assumptions, beliefs, and feelings are the driving forces behind the events, people, and circumstances that show up in your life. The law of assumption teaches us that what we assume to be true in our minds becomes the reality we experience. This is not a vague idea or a mere abstract concept. It is a tangible principle that governs how everything around us is shaped, from the smallest details to the grandest achievements. The external world is a direct reflection of what we hold to be true internally. If you want to change what is happening in your life, the first step is to change the assumptions you are holding about it. Assumption in this context is not merely about wishful thinking or hoping for something to happen. It is about actively embodying the belief that what you desire is already yours, even before you can see any external evidence of it. It is a shift in your inner state that ripples outward and shapes the conditions of your life. For example, if you want to build a successful business, you must not wait for success to come before you believe you can achieve it. You must assume with full confidence that you are already the successful business owner. In your mind, you must feel what it would be like to have already reached your goal. This assumption then sets the stage for your actions, decisions, and the opportunities that will arise to match that inner belief. This process works because the subconscious mind, which is responsible for creating your external reality, accepts your assumptions as fact. It does not question whether your beliefs are grounded in the present circumstances or based on external evidence. The subconscious operates on a different level. It does not deal with the physical world as you know it. Instead, it responds to the thoughts and feelings you feed it. When you assume a certain outcome, your subconscious mind begins to shape your actions and circumstances in alignment with that assumption. It draws people and situations that match the belief you are holding. This is why assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is so powerful. When you assume that your desires are already a reality, you begin to act in ways that are consistent with that assumption. As a result, your outer world must rearrange itself to reflect the beliefs you hold about yourself and your life. The law of assumption operates through a cycle. It begins with the belief or the assumption that something is already true, even though there may be no outward evidence of it. The assumption creates a feeling of certainty and confidence within you, and this internal state influences your thoughts, actions, and behaviors. As you begin to act in alignment with your assumption, the subconscious mind goes to work, drawing circumstances, people, and opportunities that mirror the internal state you are embodying. Eventually, the outer world catches up with the inner world, and the assumption you have held becomes a reality in the physical realm. One of the most important aspects of assumption is the realization that you do not need to see evidence in the physical world before you act as though your assumption is true. Many people make the mistake of waiting for circumstances to change before they believe they can have what they desire. They wait for signs, for external proof that success is coming before they begin to act confidently. However, the law of assumption teaches us that it is the assumption itself that creates the change. You do not need to wait for the world to provide evidence. The world is simply a reflection of the assumptions you are holding. If you act as if your desires are already fulfilled, the world must reflect that belief. You are the creator of your reality, and your assumptions shape the life you experience. This is where the principle of living from the end comes into play. The idea of living from the end means that you must not wait for your desires to come to you. Instead, you must live as though they are already a reality. You must see yourself as the person who has already achieved your goals, who is already experiencing the life you desire. You do not focus on the lack of evidence in the present moment. Instead, you focus on the end result, the feeling of having already arrived. By living from the end, you are aligning your thoughts, actions, and feelings with the outcome you want. This alignment sets in motion a chain of events that ultimately brings that outcome to fruition. Living from the end also requires a shift in how you approach obstacles and setbacks. When you are operating from the assumption that your desires are already true, challenges and difficulties no longer seem like insurmountable problems. Instead, they are simply part of the process, temporary circumstances that will eventually fall away as your assumptions take root and manifest in your life. Because you are living from the end, you know that the fulfillment of your desires is inevitable, regardless of what challenges you may encounter along the way. Another important aspect of the law of assumption is understanding the power of persistence. The subconscious mind does not respond immediately to every assumption. Sometimes it takes time for the mind to fully accept a new belief. This is where persistence becomes essential. You must continue to live from the end, continue to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when there is no immediate evidence of your desires manifesting. This is not about forcing or striving. It is about consistently embodying the belief that your desires are already yours and trusting that the universe will unfold in accordance with your assumptions. As you continue to persist, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your outer reality. New opportunities will appear, new people will enter your life, and circumstances will begin to align in ways that were previously unimaginable. The key is to trust the process and stay aligned with your assumption. The more you live from the end, the more the outer world will reflect your internal state. Eventually, your assumption will become your reality, and the life you desire will unfold before you. The power of assumption is truly transformative because it allows you to take control of your own reality. Instead of being at the mercy of external circumstances, you become the creator of your world. Your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions shape the experiences you have. When you understand the power of assumption, you realize that you are never a passive participant in life. You are always actively creating the life you want through the assumptions you hold about yourself and your potential. The more you align your assumptions with your desired outcomes, the more effortlessly your life will unfold in ways that are in harmony with your deepest desires. Ultimately, the law of assumption teaches us that we are not victims of our circumstances. We are the creators of our lives. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by living from the end, and by persisting in our assumptions, we can shape the world around us to reflect the reality we wish to experience. The power is within us, and the key to unlocking it lies in the assumptions we choose to hold. When you assume that your desires are already true, the universe will respond by making them a reality. You are the creator of your world, and your assumptions are the blueprint that shapes your life. The act of consciously choosing your thoughts and beliefs is the cornerstone of creating the life you desire. It may sound simple, but many people fail to realize the profound impact that their thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions have on their external world. The truth is, everything in your life, from your relationships to your career, your health, and your finances, is shaped by the inner workings of your mind. To create the life you want, you must begin by consciously choosing the thoughts and beliefs that will lead you to your desired outcome. This is not about suppressing negative thoughts or ignoring challenges, but rather about understanding that your mind is the foundation upon which your entire reality is built. The power of your mind is immense. It is the creative force behind everything that happens in your life. Every action you take, every decision you make, and every event that unfolds is the result of the thoughts and beliefs you hold. If you want to change the outcomes in your life, you must first change the thoughts and beliefs that are guiding your actions. Your beliefs form the filter through which you interpret the world around you, and they dictate how you respond to situations and opportunities. If your beliefs are limited or negative, your actions will be constrained by those beliefs and your results will reflect them. But if your beliefs are empowering and expansive, you will find yourself acting in ways that align with your highest potential, and your results will follow suit. The process of consciously choosing your thoughts and beliefs begins with awareness. You must become aware of the thoughts that dominate your mind, especially the habitual ones that are deeply ingrained. Often these thoughts are formed based on past experiences, societal conditioning, or the influence of others. They are not necessarily based on what is true or what you truly want, but rather on what you have come to believe about yourself and the world. These thoughts may not always serve you, but the good news is that you have the power to change them. You are not bound by your past thoughts, and you are not destined to live according to the beliefs that have been ingrained in you over time. The power to change your life lies in your ability to consciously choose new beliefs that align with the future you desire. Once you have become aware of the thoughts and beliefs that are shaping your current reality, the next step is to question them. Are these thoughts serving you? Are they aligned with the person you want to become? Are they supporting the life you wish to create? If the answer is no, then it is time to begin replacing them with new, empowering thoughts that reflect your desired outcome. This is where the process of conscious choice comes into play. You must decide right now that you will no longer allow limiting or negative beliefs to guide your life. You must choose to believe in your own potential, in the possibility of success, in your ability to create the life you desire. This may take time and effort, especially if your current beliefs are deeply rooted, but the key is persistence. The more you consciously choose to think empowering thoughts, the more these new beliefs will become ingrained in your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts whatever thoughts and beliefs you feed it. By consistently choosing thoughts that align with your desires, you begin to reprogram your subconscious mind to support those desires. Over time, these new beliefs will become your default mindset, and your actions will naturally align with them. The act of consciously choosing your thoughts and beliefs is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice. Every day you are faced with countless thoughts, many of which are automatic or habitual. Some of these thoughts may be empowering, but many may be limiting. The key is to become aware of these thoughts and to choose to replace those that do not serve you with those that do. This process requires mindfulness and discipline, but the rewards are immense. By consciously choosing empowering thoughts and beliefs, you are creating a new mental environment that will begin to manifest in your outer world. One of the most powerful tools for consciously choosing your thoughts is visualization. Visualization is the process of imagining yourself living the life you desire, experiencing the success, the love, the health, and the abundance that you want to bring into your life. When you visualize your desired outcome, you are essentially programming your subconscious mind to accept this as your reality. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So when you consistently visualize your goals and desires, your mind begins to align with them. This alignment causes your actions, your behaviors, and your responses to change, which in turn alters the course of your life. Visualization is not just about seeing the end result. It is about immersing yourself in the feelings associated with that result. When you visualize, you must do so with all of your senses. See the scene clearly in your mind's eye. Feel the emotions of having already achieved your goal. Hear the sounds, smell the scents, and taste the experience. The more vividly you can imagine the experience, the more real it will become to your subconscious mind. This emotional connection is the key to activating the creative power of your mind. It is the feeling of already having what you desire that brings your vision into manifestation. Another important aspect of consciously choosing your thoughts and beliefs is affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself in order to reinforce empowering beliefs. When you affirm your desires, you are essentially telling your subconscious mind what to focus on. The more you repeat these affirmations with conviction and belief, the more they will become a part of your subconscious programming. It is important to affirm not only what you want, but also the belief in your ability to achieve it. Affirmations work best when they are stated in the present tense, as though what you desire is already true. For example, rather than saying, "I will be successful," say, "I am successful." The present tense affirmation reinforces the belief that you are already the person you want to become. The combination of visualization and affirmations is a powerful way to consciously choose your thoughts and beliefs. These practices work together to reprogram your subconscious mind and align your internal state with your desired outcomes. The more you practice these techniques, the more they will shape your reality. But the key is consistency. You must practice these techniques daily, consistently reinforcing the empowering beliefs that will lead you to your goals. As you begin to consciously choose your thoughts and beliefs, you will notice a shift in your behavior. You will begin to take actions that align with your new beliefs. And you will notice that the world around you begins to respond in kind. People, opportunities, and circumstances will show up that support your new mindset. And your life will begin to unfold in ways that were once unimaginable. The process of creating your desired life begins in your mind. And as you choose the thoughts and beliefs that align with your goals, the outer world will naturally reflect those changes. The key is to stay persistent, to trust the process, and to continue consciously choosing the thoughts and beliefs that will lead you to the life you desire. Through this practice, you will become the master of your own reality. The world around you is not as fixed as it may appear. The things you see, the people you interact with, and the circumstances you face are all fluid, dynamic, and subject to change. However, the key to unlocking this ability to transform your life lies in understanding that your external reality is merely a reflection of your internal state. This means that if you want to change the world around you, you must first change the way you see it. The lens through which you view your world is shaped by your assumptions, beliefs, and perceptions, and to shift your outer circumstances, you must begin by altering the way you perceive them. Your mind is the canvas, and your perceptions are the brushstrokes that paint the picture of your life. It is often said that life is a mirror. What you see in the mirror of your experience is a direct reflection of the thoughts and beliefs you hold about yourself and the world. This means that the people you meet, the opportunities that come your way, and the events that unfold are all a result of your internal state. If you find that your life is not aligning with your desires, the first step is to examine the beliefs and assumptions that are shaping your reality. Your perceptions of what is possible, your sense of self-worth, and your assumptions about the world are the filters through which you interpret your life. When you change your perception, the world around you must change to match it. To transform your life, you must begin by shifting the way you see yourself. Your sense of self is the most powerful force in determining the reality you experience. If you see yourself as capable, worthy, and deserving of success, then that is what will be reflected back to you. However, if you see yourself as unworthy, incapable, or unqualified, then those beliefs will be mirrored in your experiences. The key to changing your life lies in changing the perception of who you are and what you believe you deserve. This does not mean pretending to be something you are not or forcing yourself into a false identity, but rather it is about aligning your sense of self with the person you wish to become. When you see yourself as already embodying the qualities of the person you want to be, you begin to attract experiences, people, and opportunities that match that self-perception. The process of shifting your perception of yourself begins with examining the beliefs you hold about who you are. Many of these beliefs are formed early in life and are reinforced by past experiences. societal conditioning, and the opinions of others. These beliefs may not necessarily be true or reflective of your true potential, but they have been accepted as truth by your subconscious mind. To change your life, you must first become aware of these limiting beliefs and begin to replace them with new, empowering beliefs that reflect the person you are becoming. This requires self-reflection and honesty, as you must be willing to face the beliefs that have been holding you back and make a conscious choice to let them go. One of the most powerful ways to shift your perception of yourself is through visualization. Visualization is the act of mentally rehearsing the life you desire to create. When you visualize, you are not simply imagining what you want, but you are also experiencing the feelings associated with it. It is not enough to simply see the end result in your mind's eye. You must feel the emotions of already having what you desire. This emotional connection is what activates the creative power within you. By vividly imagining yourself living the life you desire, you begin to reprogram your subconscious mind to accept this as your new reality. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. So when you visualize, you are essentially telling your mind to accept the new version of yourself and your life. Visualization works best when you engage all of your senses. The more detailed and vivid you can make your mental images, the more real they will feel to your subconscious mind. See yourself in the places you want to be, surrounded by the people you want to be with, and living the life you desire. Hear the sounds, feel the sensations, and immerse yourself in the experience as though it is happening right now. When you visualize in this way, you are creating a mental and emotional blueprint for your desired life, and your subconscious mind will begin to align with this new vision. Another powerful technique for shifting your perception is through affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself in order to reinforce new beliefs. When you affirm something, you are consciously choosing to accept it as true. Affirmations are a way to reprogram your mind and align your thoughts with the person you want to become. For example, instead of saying, "I hope to be successful," say, "I am successful." The present tense affirmation creates a sense of immediacy and confidence, reinforcing the belief that success is already a part of your identity. The power of affirmations lies in their ability to transform your inner dialogue. When you consistently repeat positive statements about yourself and your life, you begin to replace negative limiting thoughts with empowering ones. This process helps to shift your perception of yourself and your capabilities, which in turn changes the way you approach opportunities, challenges, and relationships. As your self-perception changes, so too will the world around you. As you begin to shift your perception of yourself, you will notice that your external reality begins to change as well. The people in your life will start to reflect the new version of yourself, and the circumstances you face will begin to align with your new beliefs. This is the power of perception. By changing the way you see yourself and your potential, you change the way the world responds to you. It is important to remember that this process takes time and patience. You will not see immediate results, but with persistence and consistency, the changes will begin to unfold. The more you practice shifting your perception, the more your external world will shift in response. It is also important to recognize that the world around you is constantly changing, and the people you interact with are constantly evolving. The relationships you have are influenced by your perception of others and the assumptions you hold about them. If you want to improve your relationships, you must begin by changing the way you perceive the people in your life. Instead of seeing them through the lens of past experiences or judgments, see them through the lens of possibility and potential. Choose to believe that everyone you meet is capable of growth, love, and positive change, and you will begin to see these qualities reflected in your interactions with them. The key to transforming your relationships lies in transforming your perception of others. Similarly, your circumstances are a reflection of your internal state. If you are facing challenges or difficulties, it is often because your perception of the situation is one of struggle or limitation. By shifting your perception to one of opportunity and growth, you begin to see the situation in a new light. Instead of focusing on the obstacles, focus on the possibilities and the lessons that the situation can offer. When you change your perception, you change the way you respond to challenges, and this shifts the way the circumstances evolve. The world is not static. It is in constant flux, and your perception is the key that unlocks the potential for transformation. In conclusion, the key to transforming your life lies in transforming the way you perceive yourself and the world around you. Your perceptions are the lens through which you view your reality, and by shifting these perceptions, you can change the world you experience. The process of shifting your perception begins with awareness, followed by a conscious decision to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Visualization, affirmations, and changing the way you see others and your circumstances are all powerful tools that can help you reshape your reality. By consistently practicing these techniques, you will begin to see a profound shift in your life as your inner world is reflected in your outer world. The power to change your life lies within your own mind, and by changing the way you perceive yourself and your circumstances, you can unlock the potential for transformation. To manifest the life you desire, you must understand that your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions shape every aspect of your reality. The life you experience, whether it is filled with joy, abundance, and success, or marked by struggle and limitation, is a direct reflection of the images you hold in your mind. You are the creator of your reality, and the thoughts you entertain are the seeds that grow into the experiences of your life. Therefore, the key to transforming your life lies in the ability to create and cultivate the mental images that align with the life you wish to experience. These mental images, or assumptions, are the invisible forces that direct the course of your life, and it is through consciously choosing them that you shape your destiny. The first step in this process is to understand the power of imagination. Imagination is not merely a tool for daydreaming or fantasy, but rather it is the creative force that brings your desires into physical reality. Everything that exists in the world, every building, every piece of technology, every relationship, and every experience was once an image in someone's mind. Before anything takes form in the physical world, it first takes shape in the mind. This is the fundamental law of creation. To change your reality, you must first change the images you hold in your mind. The power of your imagination lies in your ability to impress these mental images upon your subconscious mind, which in turn works to bring them into your experience. The process of using imagination to manifest your desires begins with clarity. You must know exactly what you want. This is not about vague wishes or hopes, but rather a clear and focused image of the life you desire to create. When you have a clear vision of your goals, you can begin to engage your imagination in bringing that vision to life. It is essential to feel the emotions of already having what you desire. Visualization alone is not enough. It is the emotional connection to your desired outcome that fuels the manifestation process. When you vividly imagine your goal and experience the emotions associated with its fulfillment, you are impressing this image upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the creative mechanism that turns these mental images into reality. You must also remember that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. When you vividly imagine yourself living the life you desire, your subconscious mind accepts this as your current reality. The images and feelings you impress upon your subconscious mind become the blueprint for your outer world. It is important to note that the subconscious mind works continuously to bring your thoughts and assumptions to fruition. Every time you repeat an image or a belief, it is reinforced in your subconscious, making it more likely to manifest in your external world. The more vivid and frequent your mental images, the more quickly they will begin to take shape in your life. As you begin to use your imagination to create your desired life, it is important to remain persistent and consistent. You must not let doubts or negative thoughts undermine your efforts. The key to success in this process is belief. If you doubt the power of your imagination, or if you allow negative thoughts to infiltrate your mind, you will undermine the creative process. However, when you persist in holding the mental image of your desire, and when you continue to feel the emotions of already having it, you strengthen the image in your subconscious mind. Over time, this image becomes a dominant belief, and the subconscious mind works relentlessly to bring it into reality. It is also essential to understand that the process of using imagination to manifest your desires requires faith in the unseen. You may not see immediate results, and the external circumstances may not align with your desires at first. However, this does not mean that the process is not working. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a plant, your desires require time to take root in your subconscious mind and manifest in the physical world. Patience and faith are crucial in this process. The key is to trust that your imagination is working in the background, even when you cannot see the results immediately. As you continue to nurture your mental images and emotional connection to your desires, the universe begins to rearrange itself to align with your vision. Another important aspect of using imagination to create your desired reality is to act as though your desires are already manifest. This is not about pretending to be someone you are not, but rather about aligning your actions with the mental image of the person you are becoming. For example, if you desire to be a successful entrepreneur, begin to take the actions of an entrepreneur, even if you are not yet seeing the results. If you desire to have a loving and fulfilling relationship, begin to embody the qualities of someone who is loving and fulfilled. Acting as though your desires are already manifest sends a powerful message to your subconscious mind that you are already living the life you desire. This helps to solidify the mental image in your subconscious, and the subconscious mind begins to work in alignment with your actions. One of the most powerful ways to enhance the creative power of your imagination is to immerse yourself in the feeling of already having your desires. This emotional connection is the key to activating the creative power of your subconscious mind. Feel the joy, the excitement, and the gratitude of already living the life you desire. When you engage your emotions fully, you raise the vibrational frequency of your desires, and this sends out a powerful signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. Your emotions are the language of the subconscious mind, and when you combine vivid mental imagery with strong emotional feelings, you create a potent force that can manifest your desires quickly and effortlessly. It is also important to understand that your beliefs play a significant role in the manifestation process. If you hold beliefs that contradict your desires, you will create resistance to the manifestation of those desires. For example, if you desire financial abundance, but hold beliefs that money is scarce, or that you are not deserving of wealth, you will create inner conflict that slows down the manifestation process. The key to overcoming this resistance is to change your beliefs to align with your desires. This can be done through affirmations, visualization, and consciously choosing to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. The more you align your beliefs with your desires, the more easily your desires will manifest. The process of using imagination to create your desired life is not a passive process. It requires active participation, persistence, and faith. You must take consistent action toward your desires, even when the results are not immediately visible. It is through this consistent action and unwavering belief that the mental images you hold will be transformed into tangible results. The key is to stay focused on your desired outcome, maintain a positive and empowered mindset, and trust that the universe is working behind the scenes to bring your desires into reality. In essence, the power to create the life you desire lies within you, and it is through the use of imagination that you can unlock that power. By consistently visualizing your desires, feeling the emotions associated with them, and aligning your beliefs and actions with your mental images, you begin to shape your reality. The more you persist in this process, the more quickly your desires will manifest in the physical world. Remember, the world around you is not fixed. It is constantly being shaped by the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold. You are the creator of your reality. And by mastering the power of imagination, you can create a life beyond your wildest dreams. The life you experience today is the sum of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you have held in your mind. Your world, every moment of it, is a reflection of your internal state. Whether you are aware of it or not, your mind is constantly at work, creating your circumstances, experiences, and relationships. If you want to change your life, you must first change the thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, and the assumptions you make about yourself and the world. Understanding the power of assumption is the key to unlocking your potential and transforming your reality. Assumption is the act of accepting something as true without requiring proof. It is a belief that you hold to be true, often without questioning it. The assumptions you make about yourself and the world are the foundation upon which your life is built. These assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious, are what create the conditions of your reality. If you assume that life is difficult, that you are incapable, or that success is unattainable, then that is the reality you will experience. However, if you assume that you are worthy, capable, and deserving of success, then your reality will shift accordingly. The process of changing your life begins with changing your assumptions. You must examine the beliefs you hold about yourself, others, and the world. These assumptions may be deeply ingrained, formed over years of experiences, conditioning, or societal influence. However, just because you have believed something for a long time does not make it true. The first step in transforming your reality is to question the assumptions you have been holding. Are they serving you? Are they aligned with the life you wish to create? If not, then it is time to change them. One of the most powerful ways to change your assumptions is through conscious thought and visualization. When you consciously choose to assume a new belief, you begin to shift your internal state, and the world around you must begin to reflect that change. Visualization is the act of creating a mental image of the reality you desire to experience. By visualizing the life you want, you are impressing this image upon your subconscious mind, which in turn begins to shape your external world. However, it is not enough to simply visualize the outcome. You must also assume that it is already true. In other words, you must act as if your desired reality has already manifested. This assumption, coupled with the vivid imagery of your desired life, creates a powerful force that begins to reshape your experiences. Assumption is not merely about wishful thinking. It is about deeply believing that your desired outcome is already a part of your reality. This belief must be so strong that it overrides any doubts, fears, or limitations. To truly assume something, you must embody it. This means that you must think, speak, and act as though what you desire is already true. If you desire success, assume that you are already successful. If you desire love, assume that you are already loved. The more you live in the assumption that your desire is already realized, the more it will begin to manifest in your life. It is essential to understand that your assumptions are constantly shaping your reality. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, and every assumption you make is influencing the events and circumstances you experience. If you are not consciously aware of your assumptions, you may be unknowingly creating experiences that do not align with your desires. This is why it is so important to examine your assumptions and consciously choose those that support the life you wish to create. When you assume the best for yourself and for your future, you are setting the stage for success, abundance, and fulfillment. The power of assumption lies in its ability to influence the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the part of your mind that controls your habits, beliefs, and actions. It is the creative force that shapes your reality based on the beliefs and assumptions you hold. When you assume a new belief, the subconscious mind begins to work behind the scenes to bring that belief into manifestation. This is why it is so important to consistently reinforce your assumptions through visualization, affirmation, and action. The more you assume that your desires are already a reality, the more quickly they will be brought into your experience. It is also important to recognize that assumptions are not limited to positive beliefs. You can also assume negative outcomes, and these will be reflected in your reality as well. If you assume that things will never go your way, that you will always struggle, or that you are not good enough, then that is what you will experience. Your assumptions are powerful, and they can work for or against you. This is why it is essential to be mindful of the assumptions you are making, both consciously and unconsciously. Your assumptions are not just passive beliefs. They are actively creating your reality, and the more consciously you choose them, the more control you have over the life you experience. Changing your assumptions requires persistence and patience. It is not enough to simply think positive thoughts once and expect immediate results. The subconscious mind requires repetition and consistency to accept new beliefs. This is why it is so important to continuously reinforce your assumptions through visualization, affirmation, and action. As you consistently assume that your desires are already a reality, you begin to shift your internal state, and your external reality must follow suit. However, it is also important to be patient and trust the process. Just as a seed requires time to grow into a tree, your assumptions require time to manifest into physical reality. One of the most powerful tools for changing your assumptions is the use of affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself in order to reinforce new beliefs. When you affirm something, you are consciously choosing to accept it as true. For example, if you desire abundance, you might affirm, "I am abundant and deserving of all the wealth the universe has to offer." Repeating this affirmation helps to reprogram your subconscious mind, replacing any limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Over time, these new beliefs become the dominant assumptions in your mind, and your external reality begins to reflect them. Visualization is another powerful tool for changing your assumptions. By vividly imagining your desired reality, you are impressing these mental images upon your subconscious mind. The more real and detailed you can make your visualizations, the more powerful they will be. As you visualize your desires, feel the emotions associated with them. Feel the joy, excitement, and gratitude of already living the life you desire. When you engage your emotions in your visualizations, you are creating a powerful magnetic force that draws your desires to you. The key to changing your assumptions and transforming your life lies in consistency and belief. You must consistently assume that your desires are already a reality, and you must believe that they are possible. The more you live in the assumption of your desired outcome, the more your reality will shift to reflect it. Your assumptions are the foundation upon which your reality is built, and by consciously choosing empowering assumptions, you can create the life you desire. In conclusion, the power of assumption is the key to transforming your life. The beliefs and assumptions you hold shape every aspect of your reality, and by changing your assumptions, you change your life. To manifest your desires, you must consciously choose to assume that your desires are already a reality. Visualization, affirmation, and consistent action are all powerful tools for reinforcing your assumption. By persistently living in the assumption that your desired outcome is already true, you activate the creative power of your subconscious mind, and your desires begin to manifest in your life. Your assumptions are powerful, and they hold the key to creating the life you want.